This one here is the famed Dana. I don't know which model, or if they just simply call it the Dana. The one made kind of famous in that they use in all the Sons of Anarchy bikes, with the exception of the trike that the old man had. As far as I know, they were all pretty much Danas, and they just changed fairings and handlebars and stuff like that to make them look unique for the riders, for the characters. I didn't know on my last one which engine it had. I guess it had the 103. This one has a 110, so it should have more power. And it's a bigger bike. Suspension's different, obviously, all that. And on first glance, these mirrors look useful, actually. I can just see my arm, but it looks like I've got a looks like I got a nice view of a blind spot. And all right, like I said, first thing right off the bat, this thing to me feels like Sportster riding position. The Sportster '48 that I just rode, the controls are actually more forward than these are. So I can already tell you, somebody with real long legs probably may not like that, how short these are. I don't mind it, because to me it feels more normal. I won't say it feels more comfortable, but it feels more normal, just coming off the sport bike. And this was pretty much how my shadow was. This one shifts smoother. Right off the bat, I can feel more vibration through the seat, about the same through the foot pegs. That was my biggest complaint about the Sportster, and I'm going to try not to ramble on about complaining about that, because it's a big V-twin and it's going to have some of that, I guess. The brakes, definitely not as good as what I'm used to. The way it's set up, the rear brake is in a real low position. Nice big clunks from the transmission, but it's not hard to shift. Has a real nice clunk and feel to it though. Smooth. I still am a little bit stretched out on my arms, a little bit leaned over, but that's okay. This one has a little hump on the back of the seat, where the Sportster, the seat was shaped in a way that it held you in. This one has more just of a little hump I can feel on my back. This is gear 3, so okay. Oh, cruise control, look at that, ladies and gentlemen. Look at that. Cruise control. didn't even actually see it had cruise control when I first got on it till just now. If you saw me sort of look down and push the button, that's the first time that I saw the cruise control. Again, stock exhaust, not very loud, but they're not going to be on any bike no matter what. And has some power in third gear. Lots of engine braking. To be honest, I'm not going fast enough. I don't know if this little small windscreen light is working above the light or not. I didn't see turn screen and turn light indicator, so I don't even know if my turn light's on. I didn't notice if I wasn't really looking, but I didn't notice it. A little bit heavier. Not too bad of a lean over. Rides smoother. Still vibrations, but it rides smoother than the Sportster did. It does ride a little smoother once you get moving. The controls seem to be just a little bit more twisted down, so they're closer to what I would feel comfortable with my fingers if this was my bike that I owned. It feels heavier. Obviously, it is bigger, it is heavier. It doesn't feel massive, but it's definitely heavier than the Sportster. I'm on that last turn, this set of turns here. It'll lean over if I want it to. One thing I'm not sure about, I haven't asked the guys yet what it was or what it is. This one has a bit more engine braking than the Sportster did, I believe. So far, third gear at 45 miles an hour, or 45 miles an hour, whatever we've been doing. So far, third gear is the one to be in. I don't know what this circular button is. One thing I do like, you can probably get on the Sportster, so like I say, it's not that big of a deal. But I like the air cleaner. You can see it. It's got a cone air cleaner and a tube on this model versus the Sportster I was riding had the stock kind of big air cleaner, and my leg was hitting that. My leg is completely clear of this one, so I'm not really worried about that. One thing I failed to mention on the Sportster, I guess, throttle response. Response is good, but smooth at the same time. My R6 is twitchy, as I would call it, you know, very responsive, and you move the throttle just a little and it will jerk you around. This one doesn't seem to be as bad as that, but this bigger motor does have some pickup on it. Can't do, you know, I said don't do that, and I'm not laying back to get a real good run, so there's my turn signals way down at the bottom. That's why I didn't see them, they're way down. That I don't like. I guess you got to push the button kind of hard for that. I guess I have come to the conclusion now that this little bit right here does nothing. Let's try out the cruise again. Yeah, well, I could get used to that. Give your throttle hand a rest. And it stays reset just like a car. All right. I guess I pushed it and turned it off. Trying to increase my speed, and I guess I turned it off, but it's pretty straightforward though. First bike I've ever used with cruise control, and it's straightforward like a car. Turn it on and set your speed. This ride definitely, I imagine it does improve as you go all the way up through the Harley lineup. As I said, it is a lot smoother than the Sportster once you're moving. There's still, at speed right now, I don't actually feel that much vibration through the foot pegs. I still feel it through the handlebars, but it's less through the foot peg. I actually feel a little more just vibration through the seat on this one than I do the 48. I almost say if I could change the seat that was on that 48 onto this one, that'd be better. You know, I didn't do a lot of comparison of the 48 to my R6 because you really can't. I guess you really can't. You know, it's a super sport and this is a cruiser. They're two completely different bikes. So other than saying, you know, the obvious things that the brakes are not as good and there's more vibration from the engine, you know, other than those obvious things, there really isn't anything to compare. This thing obviously is not going to beat my sport bike to 100 miles an hour or get to go 140, 160. It's not going to do it. But even though I haven't really been able to just get on this thing, with the power that I feel like it has, the displacement and the low end that it's got, I bet you to 40 or 60 miles an hour it'd still give my 600 a run for its money. I don't know, maybe not to 60 because, well, I haven't tried it, but you're gonna have to shift gears before you get to 60 in this thing, I'm sure. And the R6 obviously it'll do, I mean, if it doesn't do 60 in first gear, it's right there at it. I know it'll do 60. I think it'll do 75 or so. But off the line, straight off the line, the power that this thing has would be comparable, I'm sure. It feels good. As I mentioned, it feels like it'll lean over pretty well. Like I said, it doesn't feel that heavy. It's going to end up feeling a lot heavier from the stand, picking it up off the stand, than it does riding it. This dude kind of behind me on my right side needs to learn a little better about space. He's kind of on me, and every time I've slowed down, he's looked in my mirror. And he's like right on my hip there, but that's kind of like the other guy that I had in front of me on the last ride. He didn't know what, you know, the lane splitting, staggered riding was all about. So oh, don't crash. That's cool right there. I don't know if that canceled itself out or not. I pushed it and I looked down and it was on, so I don't know if I just didn't turn it off or if it canceled itself. That's something I would do. This bike, well, here we are. Oh, that wasn't bad at all, right there. That bump gave me a bit of a jolt on the Sportster, but this one was fine. I imagine, I guess probably my conclusion would be that as you go up to the big touring bikes and cruisers, that the suspension just gets better and better and the ride gets smoother. Yeah, I don't know what red line is, but third gear seems about right. I mean, I'm doing 40 right now, so third gear seems to just be the cruising gear almost no matter what. Like I said, it's got plenty of power to get up and moving. I could ride this bike. I'm a little bit stretched out, but it feels, the riding position feels more like what my Shadow was than obviously the Sportster was. This bike in this configuration, I could ride for a while. On the highway, it's still going to be windy and blow you around a little bit because there's, without the big windscreen or anything on it. But I could ride this one. The suspension feels good. I didn't talk much in depth about what I felt like the shocks and stuff were on the Sportster, because it just felt harsh and rigid. It didn't feel like it really had much. And as I've touched on ride quality a little bit, it's probably the same as you go up in models, I guess. This one's a little bit softer, but this one's actually not too soft. It holds the front end up more than my Shadow did, actually. My Shadow, I think, you know, when I brake hard, it would drop the front down and compress the front quite a bit. it was a little bit soft. This one's not too soft, but it's softer than the Sportster. So the mirrors are okay. I don't know if it's because they're on top, or if it really was just the Sportster being on the bottom, but these mirrors are not quite as good as the Sportster. They're better than the R6, but they're not quite as good as the Sportster, actually. One thing I can touch on after just sitting there at that light is there's a lot of heat from this motorcycle. It's not coming up through the seat or anything weird like that. And in riding position right here, it's not too bad. But as we're coming to a stop right here, where the exhaust runs on my right leg and just my other leg, actually, I can feel it touching the case of the transmission. So when you're stopped at a light here, it is pretty hot on my legs. The clutch, didn't get much on it. The clutch pull on the Sportster was pretty good. This one, the handles are bigger, I don't mind that, but it's a little bit stiffer. Spring or the cable, whatever it is, a little bit stiffer on this one than the Sportster, actually. This is a nice bike though. Oh boy, traffic. I can see here in traffic, or that I just mentioned about the clutch, that in traffic I would not like this bike. If I was in this all day. There's an accident up here, that's right. I hope my rider or leader kind of remembers that. There's actually, or I thought there was an accident. There is an accident. Well, this will make it longer. I won't ramble too much while we're sitting in traffic, I guess. I could see myself riding this bike. It was easier to find neutral right there than the Sportster was. Man, it's hot. All right. Number one complaint about the Sportster was just the vibrations and how harsh that ride was. Number one complaint about this Dana is the heat. That would suck in the summertime. I don't really have anything to compare this to. This car is kind of being stupid, but whatever. You can see it there. You can see how big the transmission case is, and my leg goes right to it. If you can see there, if you can see it, I'm right over top of the exhaust, like I say. Fuel gauge, can't really read it. And you can see the needle and the little red mark, but you can't read it. Tachometer, you can't see at all. Speedometer, you can't see. I mean, you really can't see any of it if you don't look down. Just riding, you can't see it. I guess that's pretty common though between the cruisers. Unless you get the bigger bikes where it's up in the dash area. But other than trying to get a good shot of this, anybody that has not seen Sons of Anarchy won't really know what this looks like. Those of you who saw it, you'll know exactly what this bike looks like. And oh wow. That was not there before. There was another stalled car or something, but that was not there. Put away. Gear 3, look at that. I don't know how much of a first ride this is, or, you know, I haven't done many first rides. I did a couple on some Suzukis last year. First one's on Harleys. Well, here we are. Pulling back in and try to get a good shot for you. I didn't end my last one with a ride safe and enjoy, but I guess I'll say it on this one. Just Hope everyone is enjoying the weather that you have. As always, ride safe. Enjoy your rides. We'll get a look at this and then see you on the next one.